Appreciate it. Well, thank you and good morning. Little snow doesn't stop anybody. Not when we're gathered to talk about things that really get us up in the morning. And I don't know about you all, but energy is what gets me up in the morning. I need less coffee when I think about energy. I want to thank Third Way for not only convening this summit and this showcase, but for leadership in the space of energy, for challenging us as policymakers, as lawmakers, to think outside of the partisan box. As far as I know, it's energy is not a Republican issue or a Democrat issue. It's not a partisan issue. It shouldn't be. It should be about what makes our country great, our country strong. But we've kind of gotten ourselves into this place where instead of having good constructive dialogue about energy and the solutions that are going to put us on the path to a more clean, diverse, and secure energy world, we get lined up, we take sides, we take positions that are so ingrained and we can't move forward with more creative solutions. And I think Third Way is challenging us in that area to find that, not only find that common ground, but really find the way to talk about it and talk about it constructively so that we can really get to the solutions. So thank you to Third Way for what you are doing. I am with you this morning to speak, hopefully, in a very excited and animated way about what I believe our energy future in this country holds when we're talking about nuclear and the advantages that nuclear energy brings, and the fact that nuclear should be a national policy for us, a national priority for us. When you want to talk about reliable and clean, the first place that you should be looking is nuclear. In my mind, it's as simple as that. So I'm excited to be with so many of you that are in many ways pioneering in this field, pioneering with levels of innovation that will make a difference. And we also want to learn from you about the hard work that you're doing to make advanced nuclear technologies a reality. And like you, I believe that nuclear must play a big role in our energy future, which means that it needs to be part of our energy policy. And as Rachel mentioned just a moment ago, we will this afternoon, actually not even this afternoon, at 11 o'clock today, we will be taking up a broad bipartisan energy bill, an energy bill that is designed to modernize our energy portfolio, our energy policies within this country. Now, those of you that have been following energy issues intently know that it's been a long while since we have really moved forward on any energy reform. It's been over 8 years now. And when you think about 8 years in the space of what's going on within the energy field, that's a heck of a long time, folks. 8 years ago, we were talking about building import terminals for LNG. Now we're talking about entirely the opposite, and it's happened. It's happened in an amazingly short time period. So what has happened is as advances have been made throughout all aspects of the energy sector, what hasn't changed, what's been holding us back, are our own energy policies that we have in place. And well, when we don't update the policies, what happens is you have opportunities that are ignored and challenges that go unaddressed. So it's time. It's time to update. It's time to modernize our energy policies. So last year, when I took the gavel at the Energy Committee, I sat down with Maria Cantwell, who is the ranking member on the committee, and I asked her, I said, we can do a couple things here. We know that we need to update our policies, but we can do it one of two ways. I can draft my own bill and run it out there. I'm the chairman, after all. I can run out what I want, and it's not going to go anywhere. And you can run out what you want, and it's not going to go anywhere. And we'll get some messages out, but we won't have changed anything. We will not have addressed any of our outdated policies. And I said, I want to get a bill done. I not only want to get a bill through the United States Senate, I want to get it signed into law. And Senator Cantwell said, me too. And so we got to work. We set our staffs to work to write a bill that would bring our policies back up to speed. And we didn't just do it with just the two of us, because we could have done that as well, and then put it out before the committee and said, okay, take it or leave it. But we took a very collaborative approach, which around Capitol Hill nowadays, you know, is perhaps a little bit unusual. It used to not be unusual that it was collaborative. So we sat down with other senators to determine what their priorities were. Our staffs held bipartisan listening sessions with stakeholders all across Capitol Hill, all across Washington, D.C., and really around the country. We held a listening session as far away as Quigillingok, Alaska. Look it up if you can spell it. We came back. We held 6 legislative hearings on 114 different proposals that members on both sides of the aisle, on the committee, off of the committee, had advanced. And then we began weeks of bipartisan negotiations to see which would actually make it into the draft bill. And last July, we finished those negotiations. We moved on to a markup. It was a 3-day markup. And within that time period, what we did is we incorporated 50 different provisions that members had advanced. We moved through 59 amendments through the committee process. Some would say that's torturous. I would say that's going back to regular order. Some of you have been around for a while and know that that's what we used to do in committees. We used to just process a heck of a lot of amendments. So we did it. And when we were done, we had a broad bill. We had a bipartisan bill. The Energy Policy Modernization Act focuses on efficiency, infrastructure, supply, and conservation. And what we did, we didn't name it very well. EPMA. What the heck is EPMA? But it's probably no worse than EPACT 05 or ESA in 27. So maybe the energy acronyms that are going to be successful are just poor in their design, and that's what allows them to pass. Maybe that's what we're going to get with EPMA here. But the Energy Policy Modernization Act passed the committee 18-4. 10 Republicans, 8 Democrats joining together to support it, which is a pretty good signal of support. And as I mentioned, this is not the bill that I would have drafted. It's not the bill that Senator Cantwell would have drafted. But it does reflect our commitment to work together. It does reflect the common ground that we found on policies that will boost our economy, our competitiveness, and our security. The bill is really broad, but it is designed to help us save energy, produce more energy, upgrade our infrastructure, improve the management of federal programs, and cement our nation's status as a global energy superpower. Now, you're going to be hearing me talk about it a lot over the next couple weeks, and that's a fine thing. But one of the things that I hope you all take away is that innovation is really the focus of our bill. And that's because members of our committee understand the benefits that innovation brings both to the economy and the rest of the world. And for you focused on advanced nuclear, this part of it should get you excited. The bill in all of the different pieces includes legislation that was authored by Senator Alexander from Tennessee on the energy-related portions of the America Competes Act. What we've done with that is we've agreed to authorize a 4% increase in funding for basic energy research each year. So hopefully it's putting us on a path to double our nation's commitment to that research, which is going to be important. We also reauthorize ARPA-E, which solicits the ideas that are too early for typical private sector investment, but with bridge funding that have the opportunity to transform the energy sector. And I don't know about you, but I am a big fan of ARPA-E. We've seen the benefits that came to us through the Defense Department, through DARPA, and what ARPA-E is doing is really pioneering and I think producing some measurable results, even though it hasn't been around for that long. Our bill also promotes the advanced reactors that, of course, are the subject of this summit and the showcase. As Rachel mentioned, I have long supported the research, development, and deployment of next-generation nuclear technologies, including small modular reactors, Generation 4 type reactors, future fusion reactors. And I think the good news is that the support within the committee is really very widespread, and I think it has allowed us to continue reasonable federal support for these technologies. We added language requiring DOE to examine its current authorities and abilities to host prototype reactors at its site, and then to report back to us on what additional authorities it may need to do so. We also include provisions to make it easier for small businesses to work with our national labs. I hear more about this from more different corners than so much in this area, is how can we utilize the assets that we have with our national labs, but do so in a way that you can't even get started because of the bureaucracy that we're dealing with. The current process, I think we can agree, can be overly burdensome, and it's important that innovative technologies, like many advanced reactor concepts, don't wither on the vine because of just the bureaucratic maze and the mess that you've got to climb through. The administration took notice of our interest in cutting red tape, and in November created the Gateway for Accelerated Innovation in Nuclear. This initiative will help the nuclear community navigate federal bureaucracy and provide it with the support to move advanced reactor designs forward. We're also going to make it easier to deploy advanced nuclear technologies by allowing states with qualified energy financing institutions to apply for loan guarantees through the Department of Energy. This is something that in my state of Alaska we're looking at with great interest. We've got some extremely high cost areas when it comes to energy in rural Alaska. And so what we're looking at with this particular provision in the bill, states wouldn't be required to meet the innovative criteria for the program, so they would be allowed to develop more of any given technology. Right now, the way the parameters are is you can develop, you can have one project move forward. Well, if you've got a bunch of small villages that could really utilize this type of technology, just allowing one to advance doesn't really help us much. People don't think about Alaska as an opportunity for nuclear. You look at Alaska and you say, well, oil, you got natural gas, we assume we've got coal up there, we've got all kinds of renewables, certainly all kinds of renewables, but nobody really thinks about the prospects and the benefits to us of advanced nuclear. And I think it's the perfect place. I think it's the perfect place. The emerging technologies that we're seeing and the promise that they hold, the size, the power potential, the ability to add unit by unit, I think could be a game changer for us in some of our remote communities, our small communities. We've talked about them and their prospects and their ability to help us out with our military bases that, again, are very, very isolated, many of them, and very remote. So how do we provide for that reliability and the clean requirement that DOD is looking for? Advanced nuclear, I think, has great promise there for us in Alaska. So on the energy bill, obviously we're going to have amendments. We're going to be open for business this afternoon beginning at 11. So we don't know what the universe of filed amendments are, but I expect them to be robust. Let's just put it that way. But I do think that we should see a few amendments that are focused on these technologies. I see advanced reactors as the next chapter of America's leadership on nuclear technologies. You know, you wouldn't be here in this room if you didn't know and you didn't believe strongly that it was this country, it was America that made nuclear a viable option for power generation. We set the safety and the non-proliferation standards for nuclear. Our universities educated so many of the world's nuclear scientists. So how we make sure that we continue to be on the front of that we are the go-to country for nuclear know-how. We're seeing many foreign nations increase their investment, and they're challenging the dominance in this industry. I think that it's so important that we continue to be that major player, the major player on the world stage for nuclear energy, and it's essential to encourage innovative nuclear technologies, whether it's our advanced reactors, our small modular reactors, to be deployed here at home. At the same time, it's also critical that we focus on maintaining our existing fleet of nuclear reactors. In recent months, we've all seen the bad news with the announcement of reactors that have been forced to close before the end of their useful life. It is critical that nuclear be recognized as a reliable, emission-free, always-on power supply and valued accordingly. Valued accordingly. And we can start by ensuring that federal policies do not put our nuclear industry at a disadvantage by imposing unnecessary restrictions on our current fleet or new emerging technologies. We've got some issues with the Clean Power Plan, as you know, and how it treats nuclear. I just don't get that. If what we're really trying to do is reduce emissions, wouldn't we want to make sure that those energy sources, such as nuclear, that in terms of low carbon, that they are valued accordingly? So we've got some issues there. Many of you with reactors currently operating have long worked with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to license and ensure their future and their safe operation. And we've seen it evolve with new safety requirements, but we know that the current fleet has an established process that it goes through for licensing and relicensing. But the innovative nuclear technologies have yet to reach the licensing process. A lot of us have a lot of questions about how the NRC will administer it for them. I'm somewhat curious about the expertise that NRC will need and how they will prevent unnecessary delays that could hold back these new technologies. We are continuing to hear, I mean, really, they're horror stories in terms of the cost involved and the years involved. If that isn't a great way to put a damper on investment, to put a damper on just the vision, I don't know what is. But what is remarkable is many of you in this room are not letting it hold you back. And I thank you for that. I thank you for your commitment, because you know that we're going to make a difference in this space. I think that overcoming the challenges it's going to be hard, but you've got continued interest with Congress, and I hope you appreciate that. I think you have renewed interest with the administration, and I think there is that real opportunity for advanced nuclear right now. You're demonstrating it from the private sector community, the venture community. And those of us that work in that building up there, when those of you that have different places to put your investment dollars are choosing areas like advanced nuclear, that gets our attention. Let me just remind you, it gets our attention. By Third Way's estimation, there's at least 48 companies with $1.6 billion in private capital focused on new nuclear here in the United States and in Canada. So that's significant. That's important. As was mentioned, we were scheduled to have a hearing before the Energy and Natural Resources Committee tomorrow to hear from many of the companies. I saw Mark here earlier, who's, I guess, part of the panel here this morning. Stay tuned. We haven't rescheduled that hearing, but we will. The only reason that it was rescheduled is because we have the energy bill on the floor. But I can assure you, advanced nuclear reactors are of great interest to my colleagues, not only on the committee, but really within the Senate. And so when we do get it back up, I hope to see many of you there. We don't have quite as much room in the committee room as you have here at the museum, but we'll squeeze you in. I thank you for your leadership in this area. Thank you for helping educate us. Thank you for being there to make a difference for our energy future for the United States. Appreciate it. Stay tuned to the Senate floor. We're going to be at work today. Thank you.